We Are America, A Tribute from the Heart by Walter Dean Myers and illustrations by Christopher Myers. For as much of you, Christopher Columbus, are going by our command with some of our vessels and men to discover and subdue some islands and continent in the ocean. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Before there was America, before the ships came, their white sails ablaze against the clear blue sky, my Lakota heart pounded the rhythms of this sacred land. The warm spirit of the sun burned in my bosom as my sons raced the wind, as my father sat in a curl of legend, as my grandmother stitched the giving earth to the distant sky. A golden eagle, his wings spread like the great spirit's open arms, flew over my people and the Comanche and the Iroquois. Its shadow passed Navajo and Hopi. It soared and soared. While sitting in the warm circle of my village, I dreamed. This land belongs to the first who sits down on his blanket. From Tecumseh. This is the place where the Lord will create a new heaven and a new earth. Edward Johnson. Before I knew that there was America, I had a freedom dream. The light and color of discovery lay just beyond the next wave, the next sunrise. I believed there was more than the trembling heart, the careful peering into the darkness, the promise of the rising tide. I dreamed a freedom dream. I heard a freedom song, a pull of hope, the taut bow of anticipation, the arrow of adventure flying across the ocean. I found an endless land, its promise flowering in lush fields, purple mountains etching their majesty into the pure air, flat plains that absorbed the summer warm rains, canyons that swallowed the imagination, and freedom like water on the tongues of thirsting men, freedom as sweet as young love. Before there was an America, I lit my fire at the mouth of the Congo. I watched a dark wisp of smoke cut a silver moon in half, knowing it was a praise prayer. Before there was an America, I forged iron in Guinea and brass in Benin. Each morning I summoned the sun over the Ogun River. Each night I watched the sunset as it bled behind the mosques at Timbuktu. I found no freedom in this strange and beautiful land, but freedom lived in my heart like an eagle longing to fly. We called ourselves Bostonians, New Yorkers, Georgians, Americans. We were the youth that could not fail, planting our high ideals in virgin lands and eager hearts, making vows forever brighter than the story we would live, pledging an allegiance to liberty and justice that would forever mark us as a people. The question before the court and you gentlemen of the jury is not of small or private concern. It is not the cause of a poor printer, nor of New York alone, which you are now trying. No, it is the cause of liberty. Andrew Hamilton. We raised up factories and farms, great houses and small, structures to challenge the pyramids. A free society, busily creating a universe that only we could imagine. We defied the dazzled world, and still we wanted more. We wanted to be free of tyranny, free from kings and queens to pursue our own ideas, our own destiny. No, we demanded it. Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Declaration of Independence. We were willing to die to forge our freedom, knowing it was not enough to simply be. We needed to create ourselves in the image of the new mind, separated from our past, our history. Our poets, Jefferson, Madison, Franklin, Washington, Adams, Hamilton, wrote the verses that made revolution irresistible. We danced a youthful dance and a wild celebration of who we were. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Constitution of the United States. His Britannic Majesty acknowledges the said United States, New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, to be free, sovereign, and independent states. King George III. Like clumsy children, we fell. As we learned to run, stumbled as we invented our own truths. We were America, but we were also thousands of souls smothering beneath the hatches, a chorus of chaos filling the air at Wounded Knee, the shocked stillness at Chapultepec Castle. Ambition betrayed us. Power was too strong a temptation, and yet, we could hold up our own sins for the world to see. Condemning our wrongs, even as we committed them, we learned to light the darkness with the blazing torch that is the Constitution. It may seem strange that any men should dare to ask a just God's assistance in wringing their bread from the sweat of other men's faces. Abraham Lincoln. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. Frederick Douglass. We moved on stubbornly, shedding our blood to prove who we were, that we were a high-minded people, courageous. We died at Shiloh and Antietam Creek, at Fort Wagner. We suffered at Gettysburg and Atlanta, fell to the earth at Vicksburg, cried out in the lonely night on Lookout Mountain. We emerged wounded and weary, but believing in the idea of a dream that would forever be great, proud to call that dream America. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Abraham Lincoln. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Emma Lazarus. We were machines belching smoke, pushing carts, baking bricks, cleaning sewers, inventing, daring, lifting our hopes to the skies that suddenly seemed within reach. We were Irish muscle and Polish pride, Germans and Italians, Africans and Chinese, Mexican and English. We spoke 100 languages. We were laborers building the hugeness, the fantasy that was the United States of America. We built silver rails stretching to the far horizon, factories pounding out iron and steel, cars, planes, steamboats sailing down the Erie, the Hudson, the Missouri, the Mississippi, trolleys across the heart of Harlem. We were the flat gold plains of Kansas feeding a hungry world, the snow-tipped Rocky Mountains scratching God's belly, the twisting route of the Chisholm Trail, the coverlet of bluebonnets along the Texas roadside. Blue, bold, and beautiful, and breathtaking America. We are America, the land of the free, wealthy beyond belief and not wealthy, the land of equal opportunity and not equal, the land of justice and injustice. And from the tensions, from the struggle between conscience and human frailty, between the great hope of tomorrow and the forever hunger of today, we have found our nation. We have a positive vision of the future, founded on the belief that the gap between the promise and reality of America can one day be finally closed. Barbara Jordan. To each child, a freedom dream. To each soul, the sweet taste of liberty. To each heart, give the promise of America. The end.